for the invisible stagehand. Anybody out here wonder why dogs sniff other dogs' butts? I mean, it's a really important topic that comes up, and I'll bet you're wrong about why they do it. I'll bet you think that dogs sniff other dogs' butts because they're trying to figure out, what did you eat for dinner? Because it smells better than what I ate for dinner. But no, I learned from my brother Dickerson why dogs really do sniff other dogs' butts. And my brother is an authority on lots of things. Sometimes. My brother took me under his wing when I was just a tiny little thing, and he dedicated his life to teaching me the important things about life and why things were the way they were and how things worked the way they did. And we grew up in Indiana, and our farm bordered up against a river, and nobody along that river had any fences because every year the river flooded and the fences would wash away, and so no one put up any fences along the river. And I must tell you that growing up in Indiana in the summertime in the 50s was awesome because the kids these days might think they have some freedom, but we had freedom back in the days of the 50s along that river. We could go exploring, and my brother taught me how to catch crawdads. And he taught me how to catch snapping turtles. And he taught me how to throw rocks in the river to scare away the water moccasins. Now that's important because it could end badly if you didn't do that. But one thing you need to know about my brother Dickerson, because I've got a whole bag full of stories about him, is he sometimes fabricates the truth. Sometimes. Well, anyway, we went off one day. I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and we were allowed to go to the edge of Ray Blangy's place. That was as far as we could go when we were that age. And we went off down through the field down to the river, and we went off, and we heard this noise coming from down the river. And we got to the corner where Ray Blangy's farm stopped, and we knew that if we went past that, we would get in trouble, because Ray Blangy would call our mom, and that would be the end of it. So it just so happened that there was a big sycamore tree there at the edge, and we heard this noise and this splashing and this barking and this carousing going on, and we were just too curious to stop. But we didn't go past the line. We went up the sycamore tree, and there we leaned out and looked around the bend of that river where there was this big pond of calm water, and what did we see but a pack of about 30 dogs, and they were doing cannonballs, and they were diving, and they were doing splash butts in the water, and they were just knocking each other over and having a great time, and they were barking like crazy. They were having a wonderful time, and we thought, we've never seen dogs do this before. That was pretty wonderful. 30 dogs in a pack, that could be kind of dangerous, but these dogs are having fun. So we watched for a little while, and we climbed back down the tree, and we went home. Well, a few days later, we decided to go back and see what else was going on. We could catch them again doing this, and so we did. Right around after lunchtime, we went back down the lane, crossed the lower field, down the river, and again we heard those dogs barking and splashing and carrying on in that riverbank. So we climbed back up the tree, and while we were looking around, my brother gave me a big elbow right in the side, and he said, look over there, there's a big pile of something over there. And sure enough, on the other side of the bank, stacked up neatly like a haystack, was a big pile of dog tails. They were all just lined up perfectly, long ones and short ones and fuzzy ones and naked ones, and they were all packed up there, and not one single dog in that water had a tail on. And I said to my brother, Dickerson, why do those dogs have no tails? And Dickerson said, because he's an authority, he said, well, they don't want to get their tails wet. Oh, okay. So I just took that as fact that my brother was an authority, right? So we climbed back down the tree because we had someplace else to go that afternoon, and we went back home, and it was about a week or so, and we decided deliberately we went early because we wanted to see them take their tails off. And so we got there about 1:45, and we climbed up the tree, and sure enough, by 2s and 3s, these dogs came down over the riverbank, and they very carefully took their tails off, and they snacked them in what looked like a haystack, nice and round, and they were very nicely lined up all the way around. They took them off, and they dove in the river, and they splashed, and they played, and they barked, and they did splash banks, and ducked each other and barked and had a wonderful time. And all of a sudden, here's my brother nudging me in the elbow and the ribs again. Look over there. There's a coyote over there. And sure enough, hiding under the bushes on the other side of the river was a coyote. And the only thing you could see of him was his nostrils twitching. He had something in mind. He was mad because the dogs did not invite him to the water park. And so he was going to pull a trick. You know what coyotes are like, right? They pull tricks on everyone, especially dogs. And so Coyote had something up his sleeve. Sure enough, we watched. He climbed down the bank. He snuck down the bank. He climbed up to that pile of dog tails that looked like a haystack, and he wrecked them all to smithereens to a fare-thee-well over that bank, and he peed on some, and then he went right up the bank, and he wagged his butt in the air. Na, 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 na. And the dogs could not resist. A good chase. Out of that water they came, and they shook the water off as fast as they could, and they reached over all over those scattered tails everywhere, and they grabbed a tail and put it on, and they ran right up the bank and chased that coyote. Now, you know they never caught him, of course, because Coyote never gets caught. And so it wasn't too long after that we noticed the next time we came down to the river that the dogs paused before they went into the water, and they were all sniffing each other's butts. And so I said to my brother Dickerson, "Why are they sniffing each other's butts?" And Dickerson said, "Because, of course, he's an authority, right?" Well, they're sniffing each other's butts because they don't know whose tail they're wearing. And now you know that's why dogs sniff other dogs' butts.